Hi! So we're going to make a quick video of the instructions of how we're making a stove and a pot for the cubs. One of the cubs isn't going to be able to join us, so I want him to be able to see what's been going on. Also for the cubs, so they can see how this is made. Due to COVID restrictions, we can't have meetings inside and we can't share tools. Rhoda and I are both part of 118 St. Andrews, but this isn't really a scouting meeting and we're family. So, so I guess we're okay. I'm going to skip a couple of things because this is melted para wax and I don't really want to start hardening while I talk. So I'm going to do this part and then we'll explain some of the other things. So Ronan, move your stuff a little bit ahead. So your little can like this.
Little can.
That can?
This one.
That one?
Yes, that one.
Okay, this is going to be your stove.
Okay.
We're going to put our cardboard,
Cover.
roll it up, and it's going to go in here. And then we're going to fill that with the melted para wax.
Rolling this is...
It doesn't have to be beautiful.
No, it does, okay?
Okay, so you could, this is going to be kind of like a wick. You can use a bit of a bigger wick. That's all that I'm putting in for right now. It could be more, but I think it'll be okay. So this bowl is actually really hot. It's just been over the stove to melt the para wax over a pot of boiling water. So I am going to use my, like I can touch it, but I won't be able to hold it for a long time.
It didn't.
Do you want some more cardboard to put in your tool? No? Okay. Anyways, just in case this spills onto the table, I'll just help it peel up a bit. Okay.
You made a really cool spiral though.
You made a beautiful spiral.
My phone's right now.
Okay, so you're gonna pour this all over your wax and try to fill up your little pot. I don't know how much it'll take. Would you like me to pour your wax or would you like to pour your wax? Okay. Here you go. Okay. This is our first trial run of actually doing this, so bear with us.
I can't, it's too small.
It doesn't cover your whole hand, it's just a pot holder.
Galaxy,
Okay.
come here.
Galaxy.
Pause down.
The puppy is helping.
Good girl.
Mm-mm. So this little buddy burner, it's kind of warm to touch. It also could be used as an emergency candle. You'll see that sometimes there is a little tent heater. Okay, so this can go to the side. And I'm going to put
This has holes in it.
It sure does. Okay, so what we're going to do is this is going to be our stove. We're going to make a pot holder and a pot. So the materials that I've used is I specifically chose this style of tuna can because of the way it peels off. When it peels off, the edge inside isn't sharp, so it's a little bit safer.
Tuna?
Yeah, tuna. And then I chose the mandarins because these two things will fit on top of each other. This isn't so high.
Could you use peaches if the can was the same size?
No. And we're going to try to build a pot. I've seen a couple of videos of building a pot out of cans. There could be some issues. I'll talk about that after.
No.
Anyways, I chose this one specifically so the cubs could cook the soup after. So we're going to use the contents. So that's the materials. I also have 3-inch worm gear clamp. This is going to hold the handle onto our pot, which you will see.
Handle.
The para wax, I already showed you, that's for doing the buddy burner. We need to wait for this to cool so the whole thing turns back to solid. Out of the wick that we were using, I just used a pizza box, which was approximately the right height for the can that I chose. I had taken the side strip off. I could have filled in more cardboard. And tools that we will be using, we're going to build handles for our pot with wire. The videos that I saw, they were using an old coat hanger, but I looked up what the gauge of a coat hanger, which I believe came to 14 gauge, which I couldn't find, or it might have been 12. I could find 10 gauge and I could find 16 gauge. But this was about $7 and it's 15.2 meters long, so that should make a lot of pots. I'm hoping that the gauge that I picked is okay. It's kind of pliable, but it does have enough stiffness that hopefully that will hold our pot. So can openers, obviously is important when you're using cans. This style leaves a really sharp edge, and this is what most people are used to. This clamps onto the side like this, and this actually cuts a sharp edge on the interior of the lid. You don't actually want that because then you have a sharp edge. It also warps the can a little bit. This style fits over the top, and it actually kind of slices the glue, and it leaves a not sharp edge. So top slicing, not side slicing, better for your can openers. I used scissors to cut my pizza box. We will be using a flathead screwdriver to tighten our clamps. This style of can opener that makes a little triangular punch. See that at the moment. And I'm going to use pliers for the wire eventually. Okay, so.
Dog, why must you be so loud? You can stop squeaking.
So you've already seen us putting together the buddy burner. You can, traditionally, you'll see this with like a tuna can. You can use other types of cans. I chose this one for reasons that I explained. So this is my tin of mandarins. Ronan, what does your tin of mandarins look like?
It has holes in it.
Yeah, it got a little bit warped. So since this is a pot holder, it's going to need some air vents. So I did Ronan's can ahead of time, and the sides of the mandarin can that I chose are actually really soft. So this is a bit warped. I do have very sharp edges on the inside, but you're typically not really putting your hands on the inside of a pot holder anyway. So Ronan, if you were to take your buddy burner over, just slide it over. Put your pot holder over top of it.
Like this?
Yep. And will your pot sit on top of that?
Yeah.
Ta-da! Assuming that this is all stable and I've done everything well, then that should actually be okay.
Pretty good.
I mean, it might not hold up to a lot of wind. So, I've already cut our cans and washed our cans, but I didn't do my tin of mandarins because I wanted to show you the difficulty I had in making these air vents. So I was debating if I should cut the bottom, empty the can, and then do it, but after seeing how much it kind of dented in and warped, I decided to leave the whole thing for a bit of stability. There's mandarins from earlier. They're delicious, so I've been eating them. So, I do one hole, you want to do the rest of the holes? You sure? So, it's more warpy and bendy than I would have preferred.
That's a lot of juice. Dog, no. Back up.
Get your paws off the table. Yeah, much more warpy and bendy, but his little buddy burner will fit in this. The whole thing will nest together if you want to keep it, I suppose. A different tin would hold up better, which I didn't really know when I picked it because this is my first time building it. So I had been thinking originally that I would cut this surface off. You can see by the warps in the can that that's not really going to be a super big option. So it's going to have to be cut from what will be the bottom of the pot support.
Is enough oxygen gonna get into it?
We'll test it out later. That's a really good question. Okay.
Do you think if they didn't have the can opener punch holes that mom or dad could help with like a screwdriver and punch holes through the side?
You can't, screwdriver, no. What a lot of people do is take a nail and a hammer and use the nail to punch holes through it, and then use pliers to flatten out the sharp spots.
Okay.
Okay, so mandarin, you want to put the mandarins over there? Delicious, delicious mandarins. So ideally I take this and properly wash it, but I'm trying to show you guys what I did. Okay. So, Ronan, are you ready to make a pot?
Uh-huh.
Are you excited?
Mm-hmm.
Sure are. Alrighty. Take your empty pot.
Empty pot.
Empty pot. You put empty pot on the side. We need to cut ourselves a hand. So I happen to measure this ahead of time. And it would be really nice if this part decided to come off like it's supposed to. It should on spool. So I did measure it. The rough part of this can is about 3 inches. So we want our handle kind of going there, and it's a decent enough size to be able to put your fingers in. Unfortunately, the twisty part, it's difficult to know how much is coming off. Oh, did I leave the measuring tape on the table?
No, you didn't.
No!
I think I put the measuring tape just right there. Would you take a look?
I don't think it's here.
Would you look on the kitchen counter next to the sink?
Oh.
Okay, so if I want the handle 3 inches long, plus I need space for it to bend and curve, we're going to try, I will try using about, I don't know, let's say we're going to try using 6 inches of wire. Would you like to measure out your own 6 inches of wire?
That's approximately 15 centimeters for our younger viewers.
It is approximately that. Don't know why I said inches.
I will give you.
Usually I do talk in centimeters.
No.
Okay, so if you were building this at home, after cutting it, it does leave a sharp edge on the edge of the metal, so you have to be careful. So this is pliable enough I can use my fingers to try to straighten it. I just need to be careful of that sharp edge. I could also put tape
How
over
many
the edge.
inches?
6.
6, so...
Actually, you know what? You could probably try with 7 and see how that goes. I might not have left myself enough space. I might have to use more. Like I said, this is my first time giving this
You
design
should
a whirl.
always cut a little bit more
Probably.
than not enough.
Okay, so we're actually going to need 2 handles. So while Ronan's been doing that, I've been trying to straighten out my piece of wire, which is going a bit tricky. So the reason you need 2 handles is this alone could be a bit flimsy. So you would make 2 to try to have a little bit more space to try to carry some weight.
Dog.
Okay. So, while I measure out my second piece, what we're going to do, Ronan, is we're going to have a flat little bit of wire against this surface, bend at a 90-degree angle, and make like a little rectangle handle with the flat piece of wire coming back to the can. Do you understand what I've explained to you?
Not really.
Okay. This is a good reason why you need an assistant. Ask if there have been any questions.
So like that, and add an 90-degree angle?
Yep, you just need to make sure that you're giving yourself enough space to, okay. If you can't flatten this with your fingers, you can also use pliers to help put it out. So we need enough that this is going to be held in place by the clamp, and then so we need enough to be able to be held in place by the clamp. So I kind of want to put a bend here. So I'm going to use the pliers to make a bend. Ronan's using his fingers. So now this will go this way. I might have been able to make my bend a little bit smaller. I'm going to flatten it out a bit.
No.
Okay. I'm going to try bending a little bit less. Would you like to use the pliers for your bend, Ronan?
No, it's okay.
Okay. So now I have a bend about there. That looks about good. Now, my next bend is going to make the handle. I want to be able to fit my fingers under that. So, I'm going to say about there.
I think I might have given myself a little too much.
That's okay. It can be cut after if it needs to be. Okay, so go like that, go like that. You can kind of see how this is going to turn to a handle. So, I want to make this side the same shape as this side, so it's kind of symmetrical. So, I'm going to say that I did about that much. I'll do about that much again. Hopefully this turns out. But I need to make sure that my bends are going the same way. How's your bending going, Ronan?
Pretty good. Yeah, just.
That might have been too big. Nope, that's not the right way. Ronan's doing much faster. He's not trying to talk while he's doing it. So it is important that this height and this height are roughly the same, otherwise your handle is going to be quite peculiar off your can. So we're using Campbell's Chunky Soup. I made my handle at, what did I say, 6 inches? So somewhere around 15 centimeters. And that's actually a pretty good size right there. Ronan might have a deeper handle for his fingers though. Okay. If we're doing this outside and I had a hammer, I might pound that more flat, but I'm not too unhappy with it. Okay, so I'm trying to make this about the same.
I probably don't want my fingers touching the pot.
Ideally, you probably don't want your fingers touching the pot. So I could have measured this out. That would have been a better way to do it, but I didn't, so I'm just holding it up next to it to see if it's roughly the same.
Your gum's so weird. Did you know that?
Okay. No, it's not quite symmetrical because I ran out of space. Maybe I should have
Stop
measured.
it. Just stop it. Stop it. Stop it. No. No, 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 no. You poop's really bad.
I'm actually glad I didn't have a heavier gauge of wire because this is not a really exact science that I'm following, and it would be annoying if this was harder to manipulate. What do you think, Ronan?
You dropped my other piece of metal.
Okay, After having done this, it would have been easier if I had measured and just made little marks with a marker on the middle of where to bend.
No. Stop. Get up.
Would you like to use the
No.
the pliers, or are you good?
Okay.
Okay. You're happy with your handles? Do you need to cut them? You cut the ends?
Yeah, although I want to put it on before I cut them.
Okay. Alrighty, so we're going to take one clamp, put that down. I'm going to say this is going to be a one clamp at a time sort of operation. So this is, you don't want them exactly together, but pretty close. This might require, because there's a fair bit of tightening to do on this, I am going to, I don't know if this is going to work. I don't think that can tighten enough around it. What I need is a shortened clamp. I need my clamp to be smaller. This isn't tight enough. Okay. Oh, there we go. And now I need my clamp slightly. It was easier to keep spinning this when it wasn't on the can, which is why I took it off. Okay, put my clamps a bit closer to the size of my pot. Now I'm going to hook the bottom of my handles in. This actually takes a little bit of coordination, or maybe someone to hold it for you. Ronan, would you hold this for me?
Why did this so slowly start doing that?
Oh, it ratchets. There's a thing to decide which direction it's going. Actually, I was able to do it that way without too much trouble. May I have that screwdriver, please? Thank you. Okay, and I did actually manage to do it one-handed, or single-handedly, without getting too much help. I will tighten that up after. Do you need me to hold something for you?
Don't think so.
Okay.
No.
Okay, so I was able to get this to stick in out of the bottom without too much trouble. I can tighten this up a bit more, but it's holding in place for right now, which is the more important thing. I didn't do too bad of a job of lining up making my handles the same, and I'm going to put the next clamp on to hold the top. Would you like me to hold something for you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where? It went all the way over there. Just need these two to hold.
Do your bottom clamp first, otherwise the top one won't be able to go down to the bottom.
I've done these after they're in here.
So I need to hold that for you. tight enough for him. Show the camera what yours looks like from the back.
I'm trying
Okay.
to fix this.
Okay. Can I help you in any way?
Just use this.
What if I hold the can and then you bend the wire height?
No, pass on the table.
I keep that roughly the same. And just bend this out further. Still.
You want to put your, I can hold this if you want to get your other clamp.
No, you can't eat my neck or dog.
Okay. A little bit crooked, but I think you got enough pressure on there to stay on. You're gonna cut your extra wires. So a video that I'd seen of people making this style, they had a hole punched a hole through here and used a paper clip to create a little handle, and they made it as a lid. But I gotta say, this is so flimsy to sit on there. I can't imagine that being a safe lid if you actually boil water in here, because as soon as steam and stuff start coming out, this is just going to come off. And the whole rig is a little bit flimsy, so I'm not going to do that, just because I don't want that to, I don't want to promote anyone actually putting anything on here while we actually have anything boiling in there. So, I will try to get my clamp on. You okay over there?
Yeah, remember I have slightly bended metal. May or may not.
It's difficult to determine.
Mm-hmm. Just gotta bend it back.
Hold on.
That went flying.
Pause for a second.
Okay, so I was able to get my clamps on without too much issue. Thank you. So I have two handles on the sides that can kind of lay flat. I could bend that out so it lay perfectly flat, but that's fine. They're not exactly together, but it does give a little bit more stability than just a single little piece of wire to hold.
Would you say that tightening the clamps too much could deform that can?
That's what Ronan experienced.
Okay, so snug but not tight.
Yeah, so snug but not tight.
leave it.
No, that's paper doll.
So we'll see how this turns out as a pot. And
Galaxy.
but so far I have definitely constructed a kind of cool camp mug.
Oh, hey, look.
Oh, our paraffin is hardened up a lot.
It's still kind of soft.
So you can kind of see what the buddy burner is looking like. The paraffin is mostly solid. It's still a little bit warm. It's a bit soft. If I put more cardboard in here and filled the wax up to the top, I would get a better burning burner or emergency candle if that's what you are going to use. So while Ronan still keeps making his really pretty, I could make I could nest this whole thing together.
Are there other materials other than cardboard you could add to there, like cotton balls or anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. And now if I, wrong lid, if I take this, I could put a rubber band around it, and I could pack that up and go camping. And that is a stove and a pot. Now, let's talk about the functionality of this for a moment. So we can't use this right away because soup cans, like tin cans, steel cans, and aluminum cans, like pop cans, I have found out, since apparently sometime in the 50s, they actually have a metal coating on the inside to protect the food that's in it from the metals, from leaching in or for rust and things like that. This plastic coating has Galaxy. It does not have a Galaxy. That's the dog's name.
Galaxy.
Pause off.
You can't.
The plastic coating has the BPA, the plastic that everyone was really concerned about in reusable water bottles, like Nalgene bottles. So what I have seen online from different people doing
Galaxy.
Survival and bushcraft building this type of little stove and pot system is you want to actually put this over fire to burn off the plastic lining. I have been looking to see, any sort of health impacts. I'm sure everybody knows someone who has taken a can of beans and set it next to a fire and eaten it straight out of the can, like every time they're camping. So that definitely happens. For sure, the metals can leach into the food over time. I did see something that Health Canada said they were going to look into this matter, like in 2004. I can't find anything conclusive or any proper scientific sort of studies to say the safeness of eating out of this as a pot. But I can find a number of people who do so or who eat directly out of cans all the time. A couple of things have suggested if you use it as a one-time pot, that is not so bad. But you want to take the risk of the metal leaching into your food, not the plastic coating. I don't know the temperature that you need to burn this at. And apparently people are saying that if you leave it too long on a fire, you can melt that solder. I don't know what temperature that would be. So it's one of those things that people need to make their own decisions about safety and what they're willing to risk. Yeah, so that is my really actually very lightweight
It's really light.
little stove system. I should have had an elastic band.
Pause for a second. Resume.
So yeah, I should have had an elastic band to band the whole thing together, but we'll put it on the scale and see what it would come out to. Despite the potential safety risks, I would be okay taking this and having like scouts go on a backpacking trip and using this as their stove. I still haven't tested it out personally. So we have this zeroed. Oh, it's reading in ounces. I want it to read in grams. 2.41.
247 grams.
247 grams. That's actually a really lightweight stove and pot. Or there are other types of fuels that you could have used instead of the paraffin wax. Some people make what's called a penny stove out of a similar type of can, but they use alcohol as the fuel. There's some safety risks with that. First of all, it's a liquid fuel, and I'm using this for younger kids. This is much more stable, and if you watch videos of this, people light it and then blow it out. If you use this with alcohol, you need a snuffer can. And also if the alcohol spills and you have fire going everywhere, you can also use solid fuel, or you could just buy a solid fuel stove, which doesn't take up all the time that we took in construction. Oh, there you go. We have a snuffer can. Maybe we'll get the Cubs to test out using a snuffer.
I like this.
You want to try lighting it? Might be a bit of a risk inside, but sure. Yeah, that might be a bit better. There should be a lighter in the drawer there. Do you see it? There you go. Alrighty, Ronan's going to try lighting his buddy Brennan. The wax isn't all the way solid, but that's fine. I don't even know that we soak this with paraffin like super well, but it's pretty slow burning at the moment. So this would actually create a really nice flame.
Can I put this?
Yeah.
It's gonna be hot.
That would become hot, yeah.
Probably gonna want someone to pick that. Oh no, it's still going. Barely.
Anyways, you'd want the whole bit of cardboard to light,
Yeah.
but that will create a nice flame that you can actually cook over. You can blow that out now.
Candy. Snuff.
Alrighty, that's our buddy burner and can system. Yay!
Bye.
Be
Bye.
sure to hit like and subscribe.